Welcome to our presentation of animals, teachers, healers, partners, and friends. This presentation is designed to help you understand the benefits of animals in the lives of people on the autism spectrum. We'll cover some of the many jobs that animals do for humans, and in particular, the roles of therapy dogs, therapy animals, service animals, and emotional support animals. Then we'll touch briefly on the needs that animals have and how you can improve your relationship with the animals in your life. Some introductions. This is me on your left with my dog John. We have been involved in doing therapy work since 1990. And I am an instructor and a team evaluator. I've been a national program educator and have been involved in working at the same nursing home for about 20 years, at the Utah State Hospital with the children there, at Primary Children's Hospital, in a whole variety of different settings, visiting in universities and schools, including Scenic View Academy. I love this work, and I love sharing my dogs with others.
I'm Joanna, and this is my dog, Smokey. Smokey and I have been visiting as a handler team for about 6 years. We started visiting at Scenic View a number of years ago. And now we go to visit a lot of different special events in schools and in other places, including the 4th District Juvenile Court here in Utah. I am a handler, and Smokey is my partner. I am also a pet partner instructor, and FYI, Debbie and I have been doing Zoom classes for our pet partner people from all over the United States. And that's been quite enjoyable. Also, both of us are animal-assisted crisis response teams. So when there's a crisis, they come and we are able to go get our animals and get them ready to go visit in a crisis problem in a situation. Let's talk about relationships of service and love. For thousands of years, humans and animals have had relationships that are quite mutually beneficial. So how did this come about? Think of our ancient ancestors back in the caveman times. Soon after dogs became domesticated, they used to lay by the fire with their humans. Then a twig cracks outside the cave. Is it a source of danger? The caveman looks at the dog. If the dog remains relaxed, then the family is safe. Ancient animal companions were helpers for hunters and safekeepers for their families. We evolved together, and dogs were selectively bred for characteristics that were particularly needed by their human companions.
That happened for years and years and years, and now we've come so far together. We have scientific research that shows that being with an animal causes the body to flood every cell of the body with a variety of helpful chemicals and hormones, such as oxytocin, which results in lower blood pressure, lower heart rate, lower respiratory rate, lower levels of stress hormones, such as cortisol. Animals have similar benefits from being with us. It's mutually beneficial.
Being human has come more and more challenging. Many skills are required for success in the family, social and business relationships, and just plain being happy. Some of these skills are emotional and self-regulation of excitement, stress, fear, depression, and anxiety. Appropriate social interactions, appropriate communication skills, the ability to sustain personal relationships, flexibility with routines, time management, the ability to focus on a task and to complete a task.
But here's the problem. Many individuals on the spectrum don't have those skills. And the unique qualities of people with autism make many of these skills more difficult to attain than they are for neurotypical people.
Stress. It's a part of everyday life. Loads us up with cortisol and stimulates the fight, flight, or freeze responses. Stress increases the more we are filled with anxiety and depression. People with autism, especially of their language and because of their language and social challenges, are particularly susceptible to it. Let's see how animals help us through the stress that surrounds us in our everyday life.
We know from research that being with animals creates a relaxing environment. Being with animals reduces our stress, our fear, anxiety, depression, self-absorption, our obsessions, and our negative thoughts. Being with animals makes it easier to sit still and focus.
By helping us relax, the result of all of the beneficial hormones and chemicals, we are able to reduce the results of fight or flight. We become less anxious and more trusting, less aggressive and more kind. We feel less suspicious, less guilty, and more willing to interact socially with others.
Being with animals stimulates social and verbal interaction. Look at these two dogs. Don't you just want to say something to them? Being with animals promotes comfort and eye contact. You can't help but look at those animals in the eye. It increases our positive social behavior and it reduces our fear of rejection. We know these dogs are going to like us.
Having an animal with us smooths the path for socialization. We feel more like interacting, and more people feel like interacting with us. We are able to quickly relate and bond with people. In this relaxed and happy interaction, our communication skills are improved.
Don't you just feel like talking about these fuzzy animals? They're so cute. Having an animal, animals love and accept us so readily, we see more of the goodness within ourselves, and our own self-esteem improves. They give us a chance to nurture another being, and this also increases our sense of self-worth. This is particularly important for people on the spectrum, since often they don't have the opportunity to take care of others and experience the joy and the feelings of pride and dignity that come with service to others.
There are many ways animals stimulate our brains in memory and in problem solving. Because we feel more safe and relaxed, we sleep better, and our brains work better. Being with animals increases our memory. People with autism can have difficulty retaining information or relating information to their own circumstances. Perhaps because animals are so naturally interesting, we can relate to the lessons animals can teach us about regulating our emotions, social interaction, communication, flexibility, and focus. Since animals are so easy to relate to, their lessons are easier for us to remember.
Take a good look at this picture. Could you learn something from this llama if it came in to visit you? I mean, really, think about how well it regulates its emotions coming into a building and walking down the hall. Imagine how it's interacting socially with the people around it. What kinds of movements does it do that communicate to us? And don't you think it takes a lot of flexibility for an animal that's used to being out in a pasture to come inside and interact with people? Activities with animals can help motivate us to work on specific fitness, academic, and social goals. The decrease in stress helps increase the benefit of our efforts as much as possible.
The biology of the human-animal relationship results in a decrease in our perception of pain and an increase in our feelings of well-being. We have a connection with nature. We are able to focus outwardly instead of on our own problems. And they help us keep our focus so our minds don't jump from topic to topic.
Being with animals can also improve our mental health. They help us let go of emotions that are stacked and stacked and stacked up so high they're about ready to fall over. If we have symptoms of depression, an animal can strongly encourage us to get out of bed and go for a walk. If you've ever had an animal wake you up in the morning to say, "Take me outside," you know what I'm talking about. If we're anxious, an animal can make us feel safer, and it can even continue to support us when we leave the house. If we have a history of trauma, an animal can support us when we're experiencing extreme fears or flashbacks, and it can even be trained to redirect us to do something to relieve our fear.
Animals can give us a source of safe physical contact. When there is a good match between the person and the animal, the physical contact can bring comfort, physical and emotional healing. And I think that's one of the things that we need to realize, that animals can facilitate healing. In people who have experienced abuse, it is a welcome source of loving support.
So now we know the many benefits animals give to us. Let's look at ways they can join us as teachers, healers, and partners and friends. There are many jobs that animals do for us. Not necessarily getting things off the counter, but they can be companions, co-workers, therapeutic partners, or assistants.
A companion animal is an animal that lives with a human. They can benefit their person in a variety of ways. They don't require special training, and they have no special privileges for public access, which means they don't go outside in the public to grocery stores.
Working animals. Dogs and other animals serve all over the world in important tasks such as search and rescue, drug detection, and police work. They and their handlers together have special training and are granted public access in special situations.
Assistant animals generally fall into three categories: therapy animals, service animals, and emotional support animals.
A therapy animal is an animal that meets certain criteria. It's tested and insured and visits people with its owner handler in a variety of settings to provide health, social, emotional, and educational benefits. It's focused on other people, not just its handler, and it's supported by its handler, and it does not have the right to full public access. Utah Pet Partners therapy animals serve in hospitals and nursing homes, of course, but also in mental health treatment centers, shelters, airports, and juvenile court. They bring stress relief to students at universities and schools, like Scenic View, and help kids learn in special education classes. They help kids read better in Read With Me programs in schools and libraries, and people who need encouragement to exercise can join them in Walk With Me programs.
A service animal is an animal that is trained to do at least three tasks for an individual with a disability. that the person with a disability cannot do for themselves. These animals and their owners are protected by the Americans with Disabilities Act, and they need to pass a public access test. They do have legal right to full public access after they pass the public access test. Again, it is important to remember that the disabled person has the skills and ability to care for the animal humanely. Service animal tasks can be guiding a visually impaired or blind person, alerting a hearing impaired person or a deaf person to important sounds, or be a mobility support person for those unable to walk by themselves. Alerting for conditions such as a seizure, cardiac events, or diabetes emergencies, or specific behaviors to support people with PTSD or other emotional disabilities. A business owner may ask a person with a disability 2 questions without unfairly imposing on their right of privacy. The first question is this a service animal? And the second question is, what task does it do for you? If the animal does not meet the criteria for a service animal, they may be denied access, which means you may not be able to take them into certain places in public. It's a good idea for people with service animals to carry their paperwork concerning their service animals' public access with them.
An emotional support animal is an animal who provides health and social, emotional benefits to its owner when they are at home. It does not have any special skills, though for everyone's benefit, it's best that the animal has basic training and exhibits good manners.
An emotional support animal is prescribed for their owners by a mental health professional. It is protected by the Fair Housing Act to be allowed in rental housing, even when pets are not typically allowed, and they can also go inside of an airplane. It is focused on the owner, and it does not have a legal right for full public access. Utah law now has penalties for people who try to pass off their companion animal as a service or emotional support animal when it doesn't meet the rules of law. Most of us love our animals and we want them to be with us as much as possible, but we must respect the people who need their animals and their services and not risk the loss of their legal right for their animal's assistance. For the animal's benefit, it is important that the person serves has the skills and ability to care for the animal humanely.
What does that mean? Let's take a moment to reflect. No matter whether our animals are our helpers, partners, assistants, or friends, what do they need from us?
There are 5 animal freedoms. Since the 1960s, people who care about humane treatment of animals generally have agreed that there are important to have access to have the 5 animal freedoms. And I will mention each one of these. The first animal freedom is the freedom from thirst, hunger, and malnutrition by ready access to fresh water and a diet to maintain the health and vigor of the animal. The second is the freedom from discomfort by providing a suitable environment, including shelter and a comfortable resting area. The third freedom is the freedom from pain, injury, and disease by prevention and or rapid diagnosis and treatment from a veterinarian. The fourth freedom is the freedom from fear or distress by ensuring conditions that avoid mental suffering. The fifth animal freedom is the freedom for animals to express their normal behavior by providing sufficient space, proper facilities, and company of the animal's own kind. Though it is not one of the five freedoms, the human-animal bond is an important part of what makes our relationship with our animals mutually beneficial.
The human-animal bond, or bonding, this is how it occurs. Bonding with our animals is achieved by pets, presence, which means spending some time every day being present with our animals, being aware of their physical and emotional condition, and trying to understand their communication. You know how sometimes we can be with people or animals and not really be there in our heads? We're thinking of something else. Being present with an animal means that your mind is where your body is, and you're really thinking about your animal and how they're experiencing the moment. Eye contact is the E of pets. Eye contact is how we communicate, and making frequent eye contact with our animals, making sure that they know that you're there with them and listen to them and support them is part of how you build the bond. Touch is how we build the bond, touching them in a gentle way that they enjoy and sharing your loving energy with them. That's how we build the bond. P-E-T-S, speech, talking with them in a quiet and reassuring tone of voice is how we build the bond. And the deeper the bond, the more mutually beneficial the relationship is. It's good for you, it's good for them.
When it comes to choosing an animal, however, there are lots of choices. Our animals will be our helper, partner, assistant, or a friend. So let's look at these choices. There are many dog and cat breeds to learn about. For example, the breed of a dog or cat may predict what kind of size, behavior, and personality that it will have.
And let's not forget about other more unusual species. Pet Partners is the only national registry that registers 9 different species of therapy animals. We can recommend these species because the availability of data that we have on stress signals and infection issues. They include domestic rats, mini horses, rabbits, and many pigs.
Parrots, guinea pigs, llamas, and alpacas. Choosing an animal as a friend is a very personal decision. Every species has different needs within the categories of the 5 freedoms. If your living circumstances permit them to experience those 5 animal freedoms, they may bring something very special to your relationship. If we do not have the means or to treat them humanely, there are many other places that we can go to form relationships from a distance and enjoy animals as teachers, healers, helpers, partners, assistants, and friends.
Those places can include animal rescue facilities where you can volunteer, or therapeutic farms like the one at Thanksgiving Point, aquariums, and zoos. Time for questions. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us at Utah Pet Partners. Our emails are right below here. We're fortunate to have a list for mental health professionals to consider when they're assessing a person for an emotional support animal or a support or a service animal. And we have guidelines for them for writing a letter prescribing an emotional support animals from the University of Denver. We are happy to share this information and to be available for you as you problem solve how animals can be a part of your life. Thank you so much for sharing this presentation with us, and we look forward to meeting you in the future, maybe at a Mellow Monday with our dogs. Goodbye, everybody.
See you later.